Welcome to another video. I'm the Autistic Autist and we are in Autism Awareness, or better, Acceptance Month. And I thought I'd make something special and yeah, let's start. So by something special, I mean including the whole community, not just me. Normally the channel is just about my experience and opinions, but I thought this time we make it about all of us a little bit. I asked some of you, what is something that you want the world to know now that they are listening, because you have Autism Acceptance Month. So let's start with the first one. That is by Autism Sketches. I will link them down below. They are on Instagram. I think with everyone raising awareness and educating, we should not forget to also celebrate autism. I think focusing on raising autism pride and celebrate diversity would be great. I 100% agree. We autists are very special in my opinion. And I think we should also focus on our strengths, because it happens a lot, especially in this month, that people focus on the bad things of autism, but there is also so much great that comes with autism. And I think we should really emphasize that too. The next one is by Nd.waves, again on Instagram, and I will link her. I would like the world to know that autistic people are fabulous and very misunderstood, and everything missing in the way things have been. That's true. We autists are often seen as one specific type, like we are thought to not talk, don't have any empathy, and not being able to communicate at all. While that isn't at all true. Most autistics that I talk to think that they are hyper empathic and that they have trouble trying to work with all the emotions that come into them, me included. I really struggle when I come into a room and there are so many emotions in there because there are a ton of people. Then I really am overwhelmed with the amount of emotions that I get. And I can't really turn it off. So when I have a close family member who's really depressed, then I'm going to be very depressed around them because I really soak in those emotions. There are also autistic people who don't really know how to connect with their emotions. I've known someone who really struggles to find a way to realize what they are feeling. And this specific person has now an assistance dog that really mirrors her emotions. And this way she can actually figure out how she is really feeling. The next one is from Thatgirlnamedem. I also link her. I actually believe I'm over emotional and feel emotions too strongly, and that's why I tend to not show them. So that, as you can see, points to what I earlier said. I also want to talk about the misconception that we are unemotional. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not really that we are unemotional, it's a different way of feeling emotions, sometimes like a giant load of emotions, and sometimes there's the connection missing between like getting those signals from your body, and that just needs training, or like an assistance dog, as I told you. There's a way to get to those emotions. It's not like we are completely unemotional and don't care about what others are feeling. Most of the time we care a lot about others. It's just that we don't really understand the signals, and so we kind of miss some signs that neurotypicals in their weird, not really saying what they are talking about, but kind of wanting you to read between the lines language are trying to tell us. Yeah, and that just means that we can't really see them, unfortunately. And I wish people would just say what they mean rather than using rhetoric and metaphors, because the mental gymnastics of it is not great. I think it's funny. I talk about stuff and then I realize others are also talking about it. So I hope this means that everyone thinks what I'm saying is important. And yeah, it's really rough, like that meme with the person like and the mouth around it. That's how I feel in some interactions, like when I'm talking to some people and I'm like, are they trying to say something like between the lines? Is there do they want me to react to something? Like I'm always sitting there and thinking like, okay, she did that and she did that gesture, and most of the time that gesture means this or that, or is she trying to tell me something else, or how is that person normally? And all those all of those thoughts are rushing in my head, and it's really, really exhausting for me. So when a person would just come to me and say like, last time we talked, I was a little bit disappointed that you didn't do this and that, then I would have such an easier time. Well, actually, I might just still think that there's something you are trying to show me because I'm just not used to you being that. But yeah, it's not easy. But if everyone would be a little bit more open, that would help me and others a lot. And the last one is from Theautisticoptom, also linked down below, also Instagram. I'd say the thing I want people to know about autism is that anyone can be autistic, any ethnicity or religion, etc. Yeah, that's totally true. We sometimes have like that image, and the same way we have that image about like not talking and stuff like that, about the stereotypical autist. I think most of the people have only seen a specific ethnicity or religion, and they don't really know of people who are a specific religion to have autism, just because it's not that well represented. And I think it's important to now in this month highlight that you can be autistic no matter what ethnicity, religion, everything, and none of them are worse or better. Like, that doesn't really work like that in nature. So those were the other people. Now I also want to say something that I think is very important, and that's autism doesn't mean you can't have a relationship, friendships, the dream job you always wanted. Autism just means that you are different than the typical person and that you maybe have to go a different path to your goal. But it doesn't mean that just because you now have a diagnosis that you can do what you always dreamed of doing. And now that we generally talked about what we want the people to know, I also wanted to talk about our strengths. As the first person said, that also needs to be highlighted, and I 100% agree. So let's talk about the things that I think are very cool about autism. Number one is that our sensations are so different, and I think that can be something positive too. Yes, it can be very overwhelming in neurotypical spaces, but when I go out into nature and I feel the wind blowing and I see the grass and everything, that can be such a cool experience. The second thing is that I think there's a beauty in the way we react. Like if we are happy and like I do this, or I think it may not be what is generally accepted in society, but I think it's a beautiful thing to show your happiness in any way. Like a dog wiggles his tail and I'm wiggling with my hands, and I think it can be something beautiful. The third thing is creativity. The fact that our brain is wired completely differently makes us think outside the box. So we are in a special way creative, and you can see I love art and I love my creativity and where it brings me. The fourth thing is details. When I look into a room, I first notice a lot of details, and that's for art the same as for everything else. So when I create art, I can really focus on some details, and I think that makes for some cool art pieces. The fifth thing is hyperempathicity. Anyway, so like not every autist has to be hyper empathic, but I am, and I think it will be a very positive thing when I'm a doctor, because I will really feel what the person in front of me is actually going through, and I have a different way of connecting with them, and I think that's really important. The sixth thing is that I can really focus on things that I love, and I am so connected to art and medicine, and it's very special and beautiful, in my opinion, the way I connect with those special interests. And I think we can have so many happy hours when we are focused on our special interests. So I think it's a beautiful thing. The seventh thing is that we artists are, in a way, more honest. We connect different to being honest. I don't really get that whole thing about lying, so I try to be as honest as I can. And I learned that it's also important to not hurt the person in front of you. So that's something I connected with, being so hyper empathic. So I learned that pretty early on. And it can be a struggle for us because we just want justice and being honest, and we want to be as honest as others should be to us, and we just think that it's the whole concept. But sometimes we miss that we could hurt that person in front of us, and it takes some learning experience. I think it's special that an autist has the different way of connecting to the truth, or what he thinks is the truth, and I think that's something special about a person. Yeah, and last but not least, I think autistic people in general, they have their flaws, they have their strengths like any other person, and I think we should emphasize that they are amazing. And it took me a while to realize, but now I can say I'm proud to be autistic, and I'm very happy about it, and I hope I could give you insight into autism, and I hope it was a good way to celebrate Autism Acceptance Month. Any ethnicity or just because it's not that well represented, that you can be autistic no matter what kind of. Why do I always have to say and then I can't think of something? As the first person said, that also needs to be highlighted, and the number one. That's. Do you see the one here? The fifth thing is that I am The fifth thing is hyper-empathicity, and I'm sorry if I spelled that wrong, but thank you to everyone who participated, and a big thank you to everyone who is watching. I hope you had a fun time, and I hope we will see each other next time. Bye!